Thank you, Ziller, for your kind words. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to be once again with you here in Dhaka, in Bangladesh, especially after political changes that happened in this wonderful country. In the past forums, I talked about potentials and hope. Nowadays, we can talk about practical measures and the practical steps this country can implement and that I consider very important for the future, not only Bangladesh and people living here, but whole region. Let me say a few things about global north and global south. We are living on crossroads, and we are redefining every phenomena in political arena nowadays. In that context, phenomena of global south is also redefined. We don't have like it was, relations between global north, developed and undeveloped country or developing country. We have a kind of cooperation and very specific arrangements we are facing with that are changing the global rules and the geostrategical landscape. Redefinition of the different phenomena is also characterizing world nowadays. In the context of political changes in the United States, the war between Russia and Ukraine, war in Israel between Israel armed forces and Hamas and Hezbollah, potential rise of the new global powers like Turkey, Iran, and the role of India in global arena. Many people are right now talking that we have only two main global powers, like United States and China, taking into consideration economic development and the power of their military equipments and their military forces. Many people are saying that Russia is not that anymore global power like it was, because Russia is losing that rise for economic development, but Russia is still extremely powerful regarding nuclear potential and the military potential. India is coming on the global podium. India is coming very fast, but coming under shadow, like it was the case with China only 10 years ago. Things are changing so fast, but at the same time we have aspirations of Iran, Turkey, and other big countries with a significant population. Right now I'm coming to that issue, and I will make very few comments about Bangladesh in this context. Some of the people that has been participating on this conference has been saying Bangladesh is a small country, but with a huge population. There is no small country which has a huge population. The key issue for the future is the population. Every country has the same dispersion of the most talented people and not talented people. This is about approximately 5%. If you as a country, if you have 180 million, I think more than 180 million people, inhabitants, you have a huge, extremely talented population. That is going to be main advantage of this country in terms of development. And in that respect, at the end of this century, countries with a huge population are going to take a most important role in terms of mankind and the future of the mankind. Now, I'm coming to the issue of geostrategical relations and the relations between global north and global south. Relations that are changing overnight, very fast, like all other relations. Just 20 years ago, it was totally impossible to imagine that China is going to take such a role like nowadays. 24 years ago, I used to be just a citizen of my country. When we were bombed by the NATO without decision of Security Council of United Nations. In that moment, Chinese embassy was bombed in my country. Nowadays, it's totally impossible to imagine that someone is going to bomb Chinese embassy. Within 25 years, things are changing so fast. Geopolitical landscape is changing so fast And bilateral and multilateral relations are changing so fast. In 2000, let me say a few things about my country, Serbia. And finally, I'm going to clarify why I'm mentioning Serbia right now. In 2000, we, democratic forces in my country, we withdrew Milosevic, which was considered by ourselves as a dictator who brought our country in horrible conflicts in the former Yugoslavia. He's not only who did it, but he's one of them. We replaced Milosevic, defeated him on elections, and we didn't want to recognize election results. We as the opposition, we organized massive demonstrations. Ordinary people came to the street. 500,000 people came to the streets in Belgrade, and finally he recognized the results of the elections. We celebrated victory of the democracy and the freedom in my country. We raised expectations of ordinary people. We did a lot. We implemented democratic rules in my country. Situation nowadays in Bangladesh is reminding me about situation in Serbia in that time. But I see so many similarities. In that time, my country has been facing with a significant problem because we didn't know how to rule country. We didn't know how to make reforms, how to make substantial changes within structure of the state. We didn't know whether we have to replace all other ambassadors, security people, intelligence, without having any experience in ruling country. We were, for many decades, democratic opposition with aspirations to make our country free and to work on reconciliation with other countries in the region. It was a very tough time for us, but we did it. We did a lot of significant things, but at the same time, we paid extremely high price because of not having experience. This is why I want to share this experience with you. Today I had a meeting, fantastic meeting with my friends, Mohamed Yunus, who is right now on the top of this country, facing with a significant responsibility. I wanted to share with him our experience, country that wanted to be democratic, stable, and strong, and to be friend with all other countries in the region. In that respect, I have a few suggestions for Bangladesh in the context of the new relations of global North and global South. Bangladesh has to define its own policy, to define a foreign policy that has to be in accordance with the interests of this country. Bangladesh is geostrategically thinking in extremely sensitive area. This is Bay of Bengal. This is area which is in the focus of big powers. This is China and India. This is at the same time United States that are defining Indo-Pacific as a focal point of their foreign policy strategy. Now I'm coming to United States. To be frank with you, nobody knows what is going to be foreign policy and focal point of United States after Trump's victory. I'm talking about previous administration, but now we have to wait what is going to be really outcome of the Trump's victory. What is going to be outcome of the Trump's victory in every single point in geostrategic location in the world? Not only Ukraine and Russia war, not only Israel, Hamas and Hezbollah, but also Bengal Bay, South China Sea, Western China Sea, Taiwan, North Korea. So many challenges we are facing with. Nowadays, we are living in the world that has been facing with the 48 military conflicts. More than 90 countries are directly or indirectly involved in those conflicts. We are really living on the crossroad. Someone is saying that this is the most interesting moment in the history of the mankind. Maybe for intellectuals, political intellectuals and analysts, but for the people that are running country, that are taking responsibility on their shoulders, this is one of the most difficult and extremely dangerous moments. For every single country, which is not big power, global power, challenges are even bigger. Bangladesh, in that context, is one of the most important countries. This country is not only in terms of geostrategical position very important. This country with a huge population is crucially important for the future of the world. And also, you have neighbors. You have Myanmar, very unstable country, which was on the democratic way, but right now we cannot confront that anymore. You have countries that are neighbors with extremely significant resources and potentials, not only in terms of population, but in terms of national resources. Every global power is going to take a focus in this area regarding their own interests. In that respect, in the context of the new relations of global North and global South, you have to think about your own interests. Now I'm coming to Serbia. When we took a power from the Milosevic and when we had the opportunity to define our new policy strategy. Serbia is a country centered in the Southeast Europe. Our geostrategical orientation is from 2000 until now, until today, to become member state of European Union. We don't have a better solution than that, because this is geostrategical position of my country. We don't have a better solution than that, even though European Union is not anymore our goal like it was. European Union is facing with the problems. Now, let me say a few critical words about European Union. European Union was following the agenda of United States strictly in every single conflict in the world in past few decades. And a few weeks ago, I was writing an article in which I was asking, before the elections in the United States, European leaders, whether they are going to follow same agenda if Trump is going to win, which is going to make paramount shift, probably in foreign policy of United States. And that is happening right now. What European Union leaders are saying right now? Nothing. They don't know what to do. This is really significant constraint in European policy. Do you know why I'm underlining that right now? Because the world needs European Union. We have a United States, we have a China, we have Russia right now. We don't have a sophisticated model of policy. European Union project is the most significant peace project in the world, in the history of the world, of the modern era of the world. This is very important. We need a sophisticated policy right now. We don't need only brutal big powers. Nowadays, we have such situation. This is like a dance of elephants in the small room. Can you imagine what is going to be final outcome of the dance of elephants in the small room for smaller people and the smaller animals? That can be disaster. We need a sophisticated solution. We need a politics and a new expertise in the new context of the future of the mankind. This is why I'm always encouraging European Union leaders to take over their responsibility for the problems they are facing with. I talked about Bay of Bengal. I talked about this part of the world. But at the same time, there are more perspectives. There is not only India, 1.5 billion people, China, 1.6 billion people, with fantastic economic growth and fantastic potentials, but there is also ASEAN area with 800 million people. And I think that can be taken into consideration very seriously in terms of geostrategy and interests of Bangladesh to think about possible relations and specific relations and new solutions with ASEAN countries. If that group of the countries are going to have 1 billion people with a significant structure, a strong structure, like European Union, like it was 15 years ago, not nowadays, but 15 years ago, that can be inevitable global player in the future. We need such a place. We need European Union and we need ASEAN country to bring in a global arena new voice and to redefine in a specific way global context of the geostrategical context of the global north and global south. That can change context of the global north and global south more than everything else. At the same time, competition between big powers can contribute to the mankind. We are witnessing that from 2014, after meeting in Kazakhstan when Xi Jinping, president of China, has been launching idea about Belt and Road Initiative. We have a new global gate idea which was launched by European Union countries. This is very good. This is coming later, and this is always the matter of criticism of European Union leaders because they are late, they are lazy, they are not taking the consideration in the right moment geostrategical interests. But this is good, because if we have at the same time two parallel processes that can coordinate finally somehow, smaller countries, developing countries, global south can benefit. Now, I see my very, very good friend Musamar from Mali, and his country, which is suffering very, very much because of not very fair relations with the country that has been always presenting in this area. For example, France. France loses credibility in Africa. Whoever lost credibility, many Western, so-called collective West countries, who is coming, who is replacing them in terms of popularity? Russia. Is that good? I'm not sure. But this is reality. But with such initiatives like Belt and Road and Global Gate and criticism and kind of checking, making kind of balance between these two strategic initiatives, I think that countries like Mali, like Congo, like Nigeria, and countries of Central Asia, and all other countries like Bangladesh can have a benefit. I'm thinking about initiatives that can positively contribute to the development and new stability in the world. Why I'm saying this? Because we need a balance. We need a balance. 2000, beginning of 20th century, is characterizing the moment with a new conservatism in the United States. Do you remember that period? An outcome of that was a book of it's a Huntington, Clash of Civilization. The other was a Fukuyama book, The End of the History. Actually, this is beginning of history. This is new beginning of history. Whoever was thinking this is the end of history and the international relations, economic relations, and military relations are cemented, beginning of 20th century failed. This is beginning of history. And the countries like Bangladesh, countries with a huge population and huge potential and huge hope, are really going to contribute to the new history. Fantastic book, which was criticism of Fukuyama and Huntington, was written by Dominic Moissy. I'm always mentioning that because this is very important to be considered seriously in the future. His answer on the two books and the ideas that we are living in the clash of civilization, which is finally defined because USSR failed, United States won. That book was analyzing something which was totally forgotten in the history of mankind, specifically of the collective West, emotions. His book is a geostrategy of emotions. He mentioned three emotions, strategically very important, geostrategically very important. Fear. European unions get a fear because of new rising stars, for example, China and other countries, India. What is going to be with their supremacy in the world nowadays? Hope for developing countries, Southeast countries, African countries, Central Asian countries, and humiliation. Many countries have been humiliated during the modern history, brutally humiliated. As the former president of Serbia, I have to say also my country was humiliated. Also, we made a lot of mistakes in historical context in the 20th century. to be very frank with you. But we were humiliated many times. Humiliation is a very dangerous geostrategical emotion. Do you know why? Because humiliation is going to be contained, deeply contained and memorized by ordinary people. Humiliation is going to make destruction within structure of every single country and ethnic group which was humiliated. And every kind of humiliation is provoking reaction. Reaction can be kind of extremism. And this is very, very dangerous. And whoever is thinking that can rule the world and run the world the way how it was during the colonialism and after that is failing totally. Because we are not living in the same world. We don't have the same figures. We don't have the same influences. We don't have the same world. We are living at the beginning of the new era. That has to be taken into the consideration very, very seriously. I'm afraid that big powers are not able sometimes to be flexible and to understand what is going on, which era we are facing with, which moment we are facing with. This is very important, extremely important, that this moment must be understood in a proper way. Otherwise, we are all going to pay extremely high price. Otherwise, we are going to pay extremely high price. This is a moment for our common future. This is a moment for our common discussion. This is a moment for our common analysis. This is a moment for the new world orders. This is a moment when we need more multilateralism than ever. More than ever. Ladies and gentlemen, my friends, as I talked with the President, Prime Minister Yunus, interim Prime Minister, we have to help each other. I consider that forum kind of contribution to that behavior. We have to understand better each other. I'm here. I just came this night from the forum from Hong Kong about strategical relations between United States and China. A group of intellectuals were trying to define the new relations and to help how those countries can communicate in the future. From here, I'm going to Baku, COP29, and we are going to talk about climate changes and the protection of environment. From there, I'm going to be in Lisbon on Alliance of Civilization Summit. We have a problem, China and United States, potential war and conflict, disputes, many disputes. We have a Bangladesh here, country which is on the crossroad after democratic changes, but country that has to find a real way from the situation this country is facing with. Climate changes are changing structure of economy in every single country. My country is affected because of that already. And the Alliance of Civilization, I'm finishing with that. All problems are lying in our cultural aspects. We need more communication and cultural ties. Because of defending our cultural positions with a kind of egoism and narcissism, we are failing very much. And in that respect, every single government has to be able to be flexible and to understand other phenomena and neighboring countries in a different context. Cultural aspect is very important. Important for identity, every single country, but at the same time can be very dangerous for every single country if this country is going to wake up in a kind of nationalism. I am very much in favor of identity issue, but I'm very much against nationalism. In that context, I'm proposing to you to take into consideration what I said and kind of criticism also that can be taken into the consideration in the serious way. And I'm not going to give up from such a forums and try to help to every single country in the world finding better solutions for the future. Thank you very much for your attention.